The match everyone was waiting for. Being only the second time the two stars have played each other, fans thought this would be a close thriller. But that's not the case. Even Carlos was blindsided by his loss. So what exactly happened to Carlos? Tennis fans across the world were eager to see Carlitos at Roland Garros this year especially, due to his performance in the previous tournaments on clay this season. This was the first time that the 20-year-old was competing at a Grand Slam as the number 1 seed, so Carlos came prepared, or so he thought. Carlos's dominant display against Flavio Cobolli in a 6-love, 6-2, 7-5 victory sent a strong message to his title rivals. He showcased his exceptional skills and raced into the second round in under 2 hours, leaving no doubt about his status as the world number 1 in men's tennis. By beating Cobolli, he booked himself a match against Taro Daniel. He then displayed his aggressive playing style and impressive shot-making skills despite challenging weather conditions in his match against Taro Daniel. Although he faced a brief setback in the second set, Carlos swiftly regained his form and emerged victorious with a final score of 6-1, 3-6, 6-1, 6-2, showcasing exceptional net play by winning 20 out of 29 points at the net. The next on the list was Denis Shapovalov, one of Canada's best. In this engaging match, Carlos showcased his dominance on the court, securing a swift 6-1, 6-4, 6-2 victory. Shapovalov struggled with a high number of unforced errors, while Carlos demonstrated his prowess with 25 winners and a strong net game, including successful drop shots. Lasting for 2 hours and 10 minutes, the match highlighted his exceptional performance and strategic play. Carlos was on a great winning streak and was set to face Lorenzo Musetti, whom he had a 0-1 record at the time, which added pressure to their highly anticipated match in Paris. However, he quickly shifted the momentum in his favour after Musetti's strong start, showcasing his dominance with powerful forehands and leaving Musetti unable to keep up. Carlos maintained his control throughout the match, securing an early break in the second set and ultimately claiming victory in a swift 2-hour and 8-minute contest. Carlos's achievement of reaching the quarterfinals at Roland Garros for the second consecutive time highlighted his promising potential as a rising player. In his match against Stefanos Tsitsipas, Alcaraz displayed exceptional skill, taking full control of the match and leaving Tsitsipas trailing behind. Carlos convincingly won the first 2 sets 6-2 and 6-1, with Tsitsipas showing signs of a comeback in the third set but ultimately falling short, and the final score being 6-1, 6-2 and 7-6. Tsitsipas blamed his loss on melatonin pills and a nap that he took just before the match. Carlos's impressive performance set up a highly anticipated semi-final clash against Novak Djokovic. The main event, the final before the final, had arrived. Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz were set to battle it out in Paris. As the match began, it was obvious that it was going to be an extremely difficult one for both players. Both started off very strong, but it seemed as if Djokovic had a solution for each and every one of Carlos's moves and plays. Stepping into the court, moving back, anticipating the next shot, and positioning himself in the right spot was the key to Novak's brilliance in the first set. He took the first set 6-3, which left Carlos on the back foot with a 1-set deficit for the first time in the tournament. The level of play from the first set continued into the second set as well, and it had gotten even higher. Numerous incredible rallies and the constant cat-and-mouse game, it was a real battle on the court. Carlos's relentless energy and determination became prominent in the second set. He delighted the crowd with a series of spectacular shots that left everyone in awe and excitement. Eventually, he managed to break his opponent's serve twice, leveling the match at 1 set apiece. But what was to come was a true heartbreak for Alcaraz fans and a relief for Novak's fans. The match remained evenly balanced until the conclusion of the second game in the third set. Carlos experienced what seemed to be severe cramping in his right leg after missing a return. As he hit the return, he immediately started jumping up and down in agony. Concerned about the condition of his leg, he decided to receive medical attention during the match at a score of 1-1. Since it was not a scheduled changeover, he chose to concede a full game to Djokovic to have his leg examined. This decision resulted in Djokovic being granted a crucial service break, which he promptly consolidated to establish a 3-1 lead, taking advantage of Carlos's limited mobility. Facing a deficit of 4-1 in the third set, Carlos received treatment during a changeover. An on-court physician attended to both of his legs, addressing any concerns related to his physical condition, but the cramping wasn't going away. There was nothing Carlos could do. He was pretty much limping his way through the last 2 sets. Not wanting to forfeit the match entirely, it was such a shame that the world wasn't given the opportunity to see the 2 stars battle it out to the end. I think we were both at our physical limits, to be honest. Towards the end of the second set, I wasn't feeling fresh at all, said Djokovic, who briefly got his right arm looked at during one of the changeovers. We went toe-to-toe. I think it was quite an even match. At 1 set all, and then this thing happened with his cramps in the second game of the third set. And from that moment onward, it was a different match. Swiftly after losing the third set, Carlos was 5-love down in the fourth set as well. Somehow, he mustered the strength to win one game, but that's all she wrote. The match came to a very anticlimactic finish, with Djokovic winning the last 12 out of 13 games and the final score being 6-3, 5-7, 6-1, 6-1, in the favour of the 22-time Grand Slam champion at the time. This triumph serves as a testament to the remarkable resilience and endurance exhibited by the Joker throughout his career. Faced with the challenge of defeating one of the most dynamic players of the current tennis era, Djokovic managed to perform at his highest level when it mattered the most. You must be wondering, how is a 36-year-old capable of physically outperforming a 20-year-old in full swing? Utilization of experience and knowledge of the game is the answer. Novak's incredible ability to adapt to his opponent's game and turn it against them is one of his biggest strengths. Carlos is used to overpowering his opponents, but what happens when Djokovic turns that same tactic against you? You break down completely, to the point where it's simply impossible to continue the match. However, this is not that surprising. It is very well known that more quote-unquote older players tend to find creative solutions to fend off rising stars. Remember when Agassi beat 21-year-old Federer in the 2002 Miami Open final? Just 2 years later, Roger was dominating the ATP Tour like no one before him. But back to the point, there are numerous examples of this because it is a completely natural thing in sports. But back to Carlos now. He spent the least time on the court out of all the players who reached the semis, but had replaced time with intensity. His will to fight for every point is impressive, but that is one of the reasons behind his loss against Djokovic. He simply pushed too far past his physical limit. Generally in sports, younger players facing numerous injuries isn't a great sign of things to come. But for the sake of our beloved tennis, let us hope that this is not the case with Carlitos. We can all agree that watching Carlos play is sensational, as he brings the same high playstyle intensity that peak Rafa brought. His future definitely looks bright if he keeps his game on this insane level. With the grass court season well underway and Wimbledon just around the corner, lots of questions are looming around Carlos going into it. Can he stay healthy enough to make a deep run? But most importantly, if him and Novak meet again, will he be able to beat him? Guess we'll just have to sit back and see what happens. Nevertheless, Carlitos is a world-class tennis player, and he continues to prove it day in and day out. The downside is that Novak, at this stage of his career, is not letting anything stop him, including Carlos. He does not fear Carlos at all, just like he didn't fear Nadal ever in this video shown above.